Hey, how's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toaster Bros, and today we got a hidden gem for you guys. This is the RX 6600M that is sold through multiple different retailers, and the best part is under $200 most of the time, and it has legit driver support.
The one we have right here is on Amazon with Prime shipping, and that's why we're taking a look at it today. We've been taking a look at all these new graphics cards that are being sold on Amazon with Prime shipping. You can buy all these cards as well from AliExpress, but the benefit of buying it locally here on Amazon is really appealing, and we're gonna see if this one stands up to all our tests we throw at it. But before we do that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Lexar and their NM800 Pro Gen 4 M.2 SSD. Designed for hardcore gamers, professionals, and creators, the Lexar Professional NM800 Pro provides unparalleled performance with speeds up to 7,500 megabytes per second read and 6,500 megabytes per second write. The NM800 Pro uses next-gen PCI Gen 4 SSD technology, so you can experience 2 times faster speeds than PCI 3.0 SSDs. The NM800 Pro also features an impressive cooling heatsink compatible with both PS5 and PCs. The NM800 Pro is also built to last while being both shock and vibration resistant, and it also comes with a 5-year limited product support to give you peace of mind that your data is safe and secure. Be sure to check the link in the description down below to learn more, and big thanks again to Lexar for sponsoring today's video.
Now, if you're willing to take 50 risk, this could be your 51st risk, because this is from 51 Risk, and it is an RX 6600M 8GB GDDR6 card. And one of the things I like about it is you obviously do get a brand new cooler and everything, brand new heatsink, dual fan, and you get 4 display outs. We've noticed a lot of the mobile cards or the really crappy aftermarket cards will only have like 2 display outs a lot of the times, and they just look fake. This one could actually pass as like a real 6600, honestly. And the best part is, from the testing that we believe we're gonna see, we're only gonna have about a 1 to maybe 3% difference from the real RX 6600.
Which those do go for about like $230 to $240, so you are saving about 30 to 40 bucks, which can be beneficial in a budget build, but is it really worth that price savings to buy a card that's from a company you might never have heard of? Well, we'll talk about that, but we first need to talk about some of the key specs of this graphics card. Now, this is a mobile GPU, hence the RX 6600M. Someone took the mobile GPU, put it on a PCB that allows it to work well in a normal desktop cooler, and boom, we have a graphics card that works in your normal gaming PC. It is a 7nm GPU with, as Jackson mentioned, 8GB of GDDR6 VRAM. It does have a base clock of 2068 MHz with a boost of 2416 MHz and a TDP of only 100 watts, which is the really big benefit here. It's a very low power consumption card, so this would be even better than the 6600, which is already a very low power consumption card, to slap into something like an Optiplex that doesn't have a great power supply. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is take this graphics card and put it in our test bench here, which Jackson's gonna talk about real quick, and we're just gonna see how it can perform in the latest titles.
So for our controlled test bench environment, we have a very high airflow system featuring the Ryzen 7 5700X 240mm deep cool liquid cooler. We have an Asus TUF B550M, 16 gigs of PNY Accelerate 3600 MHz RGB RAM. We have a 1TB Team Group NVMe SSD. We have an XPG 650-watt power supply, and then we have a very nice deep cool case with lots of airflow.
Alright gamers, now that we have this 51 Risk RX 6600M on the test bench, let's go ahead and dive into some games, shall we? Now the games we decided to test are as follows. We have Cyberpunk, Red Dead Redemption 2, Forza Horizon 5, Warzone 2.0, Hogwarts Legacy, and last but certainly not least, good old Fortnite. Now first up in Cyberpunk at 1080p, high settings with quality FSR. Do keep in mind with MSI Afterburner, I did forget to add the M to the 6600 on the overlay software. I promise you it is a 6600M. You can manually change the name of it MSI Afterburner, so just keep in mind there should be an M there. Regardless, it is the 6600M, and we got an average of 124 FPS, a minimum of 54, and a max of 201, which are really good numbers actually. Pretty insane to be exact, because getting 100 plus FPS on high settings, albeit we are using FSR, it's still pretty crazy for a card that's $200, especially in a game that is so demanding. This just shows that this card has a lot of headroom to stretch into 1440p gaming as well. Now let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. 1080p, the settings are on screen right now, but it is on favoring high quality, which is pretty much like ultra settings. This was definitely the most demanding test we ran. We ended up getting a minimum of 44 FPS, a max of 78, an average of 60. Again, we got a 60 FPS average running really high settings at 1080p in a game that does stress systems to their limits. Even some higher end GPUs will struggle to maintain 60 FPS on higher settings. So it's pretty cool to see in a game like Red Dead 2 that we are are still averaging 60 FPS. Now, the last of our built-in benchmarks we ended up running is Forza Horizon 5, 1080p once again on high settings, 121 FPS average. Again, very similar to Cyberpunk, we're getting 100 plus FPS on high settings in a new AAA title that is not easy to run. We have had a lot of budget systems that struggle to maintain 60 in this title. Now, in terms of what I would pair the RX 6600 with, because we always like to talk about what kind of PC could you build with this thing. Now, I always like to talk about what kind of system I can build around the GPU I'm benchmarking. So with this RX 6600M, you should have no problem pairing it with pretty much any CPU you would use the RX 6600 for. So we have like an i5 12600K is a really good value CPU. 12400 is also a really good value CPU. You could even go budget with like an i3 12100F or even 10100, but I'd probably lean 12100F with how cheap they're getting and the upgrade path to 13th gen. But there are a lot of options for what you can build with this graphics card, and I have a feeling we'll do a pretty cool build guide with this thing, considering it is available on Amazon, and we can do probably like a $600 or $700 gaming PC around this thing, and I think it'll be pretty awesome to do that on the channel. So let me know down below what CPU you want to see with it. The next game we're testing is Warzone 2.0 on the balanced preset 1080p. We end up getting 120 FPS most of the time, and we even boosted up to 140, and we are in the Resurgence game mode, again on the balanced preset 1080p, which isn't as demanding as the main game, but it does offer some high octane gameplay, so you can run around and really push your system to its limits, and getting a high refresh rate experience with this $200 card is pretty crazy. I know a lot of people, when you get into Warzone, really think they need to spend $300-400 on a GPU to have a competitive experience, but running these what are basically like medium settings at 1080p and getting high refresh rate, it's pretty impressive. Now, another AAA title that is very demanding to run nowadays is Hogwarts Legacy at 1080p using the high preset with ultra quality FSR. We wanted to get the most beautiful gaming experience while also benefiting from FSR. At 1080p, we got 90 plus FPS with 100 plus sometimes. For the most part, when we started traveling back to Hogwarts, it was dipping into the 90s, but outside in the forest area, we were getting 100 plus. In a game like this, you really can't complain, and it does go to show that even with this graphics card, you can play at 1440p as well, and I have a feeling if we do the build guide that we plan on doing with this graphics card, we'll have no problem doing some 1440p testing, especially on AAA titles and, of course, esports titles. 1440p high refresh rate is becoming much more affordable, and this card is no exception. And last but certainly not least, we have Fortnite, 1080p high quality TSR, and we got 144 FPS on average, but sometimes we were boosting all the way up to 180. Of course, with Fortnite, it's a very CPU dependent game, but we do try to run on higher settings to make the RX 6600 the bottleneck. It wasn't entirely the case here because we weren't reaching 100% usage, but it does go to show you guys that if you are going to go with this graphics card and you pair it with some sort of mid-range CPU, you'll have no problems getting 100 plus FPS in Fortnite, which is to be expected nowadays in this game that is pretty well optimized even on higher settings. So in recap, this RX 6600M from a company called 51 Risk, which is a very interesting brand name, is a pretty decent value. Right now, at the time of recording this video, I believe it's $209 with Prime shipping on Amazon. It does come in and out of stock, so definitely check that link down below for the most up-to-date pricing and availability. But I really do think it's a card that some people should consider, but spending a little bit more money, like 30 to 40 bucks, is not a bad idea to just get a normal RX 6600. But if you're on a really tight budget and the 30 to 40 bucks can be put elsewhere in your system to make things much more balanced, like put more into your CPU rather than your GPU, I think it's a pretty good option that you definitely check the link down below to learn more. Yeah, really cool card. 51 Risk is an interesting name, but you know what? We've been seeing cards from Acerix and all these different companies out there, and it's still cool to see to this day that all these cards are available to buy on Amazon. So now we finished the benchmarking section of today's video. How to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
Alright guys, we just got done testing this graphics card, and as you can see, it gets the Toasty Bros thumbs up because it actually works pretty well. Now, do we recommend buying this graphics card over the 6600 if they were the same price? No, we do not, of course, because you can actually get a 3-fan nice name brand card if you want for just 40 to 50 bucks more. So some people are going to want to spend that. Other people are going to want to save this 30 to 50 bucks because that does make a huge difference if you're only working with like $500 to begin with.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. If you're wanting to
save a little bit of money, this is a solid card option. If you're cool with the way it looks and the way it performs, as you can see in the benchmarks, you should definitely check that link down below. It's in fill link and will help us out. But yeah, let us know if there's any other like interesting / different graphics cards on Amazon you want to see us take a look at. I see them popping up all the time. They're the same cards that are being sold in places like AliExpress, but they're now being moved here to the US, and they are a bit more expensive than the AliExpress option, but it does give you the convenience of Prime shipping and at least some sort of return policy with Amazon.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
So this graphics card right here will actually be used in a PCBros.tech gaming build, so you can buy one online if you're anywhere in the US, or you could even come in store to us in Louisville and buy it there.
Yeah, little did you know, we have a store you can walk into and buy some of our awesome gaming PCs. PCBros.tech, gaming PCs, gaming laptops, and merch. Buy some of our merch, by the way. Use code TOASTYBROS2 on checkout. Save 2% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.
Peace out.